All right, welcome to your Wiley Manager Crash Course, where we try and give you a bit of a sneak peek into the topic that we discussed during the full-length version of the show. And on this week's show, Bob, we were trying to help a gentleman named Monty out with the idea of onboarding properly.
Yes, Monty wanted to know all about onboarding, and we've talked all around it. We thought we'd finally do a whole podcast on it.
All right, so let's see if we can give folks a bit of an idea as to our conversation during the full-length version.
Right. Well, the first part is to remember the reason you want to actually consider onboarding and take it seriously is that employees are at their greatest flight risk in the first 12 months of their employment. Right.
Yeah.
So it's important that we do a good job of orienting people inside the organization and really integrating them in such a way where they want to stay with us for some longer period of time because, of course, employee turnover is expensive.
Indeed it is. And there's sort of three different areas within the show that we spent most of our time on. Right.
So there's three sort of areas that we talked about in terms of onboarding: orientation, adaptation, and acceleration. So very quickly, orientation are what most organizations kind of do right now anyway. So this is where you talk to people about what the policy is when you get a boo-boo on your boo-boo and all that other stuff, right? So this is maybe some job-specific training, introduction to others. This is about getting telephones and computers and tools and equipment in place ready for a person's first day of work.
Right.
Most organizations do that reasonably well, although they probably could do better.
Okay, and what's adaptation about?
Adaptation is about your corporate culture. Okay. So how do we integrate people into that culture? How do you describe your culture? What are the mission, vision, and values of your organization? What are the stories that you tell in an organization? How are people exposed to others inside the organization? So this is, again, about integrating somebody culturally. This isn't something you can do in an hour. This is something that you have to have a longer term focus on.
Okay. And the third piece we talked about was the idea of acceleration.
Right. So what we're calling acceleration is where we've got what do you want people to get done when they're in your organization? So what are their goals, their objectives? What standards do you want them to work with? How are they going to meet with their supervisor or others? And on what frequency is that going to happen? This is how we really help people hit the ground running. And again, this is something that, of course, goes through their whole tenure, however long they're with an organization. But we want to be very deliberate about it at the very front end of somebody's employment with an organization.
All right, cool. So for more on this topic, you can go get that podcast, the full-length version, from our website, www.wileymanager.com. It's also going to be made available on iTunes as well.
You betcha.
All right, Bob, thanks for your time.
We'll see you next time.